All right. Manaoli Madness.
All right.
This is going to be the first video of many that's going to tell my husband's story. Okay, first of all, if you guys hear music in the back, we don't own any of the rights to this crazy music because we got music all over the place.
Yeah.
And then,
That's the other guys, the neighbors.
yeah. And then I'm kind of a mess today. Like, my muscles aren't working, I'm clumsy. So if I'm moving around, that's why I got a owie lip because my hands couldn't hold the phone today, and it fell on my face. Then I tripped over the cat,
Rookie?
and I
The
got
rookie?
like rash on my knees because the cat,
Rashini's
the cat jumped out and just.
was the cat's fault.
You should have seen
It
her.
was the cat's fault.
You should have seen her, man. She
It was
came
the
out.
cat's fault.
She jumped out of nowhere, you
Now,
know.
are you saying that it was the cat's fault?
Yes,
That you had all these rookie um, things happen
that's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
to you? Mm,
Okay,
right.
so we are gonna be doing um, road trips to places that everything from my husband's childhood. Um, so our first trip out is gonna be at Camp for Housing, right?
Right.
And that's gonna be your memory of when you were around 5.
Yeah. So the first major
Traumatic.
traumatic
Okay.
incident happened when I was 5 years old.
So before that,
Mhm.
because he was, I'll let him tell the story, but I wanted to just start the whole segments with um, what he remembers as a child. Because I don't remember what I was doing at age 3. I don't think. Only that pool incident, but
Right.
other than that, I don't really remember.
Yeah,
So
it's not like a whole movie reel, but
yeah, just
it's
pieces.
yeah, it comes in and out,
Right.
right?
Okay, so what's the first memory you have? And not here, right? It was in
No,
California.
it was we had to have been in California because we never come home till I was 3 years old.
Okay.
I was born in '64, so we came home in '67, around there. So um, prior to that, I was in California. The first one of the first memories I remember is that I was, those little red wagons
Yeah,
with
yeah,
the black handle, the
yeah,
metal ones,
yeah.
with the white lettering on the side,
Yeah,
like fire or something or whatever.
those were the actual wagons, weren't they called red fire or
Yeah,
something? Yeah, there's
the
a name
kids
for
would
it.
kids would play.
The flyer red
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
something like that. I
Right,
know there's an
right.
actual name for it. Yeah.
So I had my sister. She was sitting in it, and I was pulling her. It was going down the stairs.
Hmm.
It wasn't like a long stairs. Like go
Oh,
down
I
one thing
was.
and go down the others, and you on the ground floor. And so I remember that pulling my sister around the corner. Uh, I remember I remember in a playground,
Hmm.
like on a jungle gym, and I remember that's when I first saw like flannel.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, like the plaid shirts and stuff.
That's funny. We have flannels today. That's
Yeah,
like our favorite stuff.
yeah. And I remember was there, and then um, later on, remember being upstairs, like in one almost like an attic, but it was like a bedroom, and where the kids was, and I was inside there.
Stop it! You make me yawn.
Man, I'm tired. It's funny when you trying to take a break on a weekend, you get more tired.
Yeah.
And I remember that. But one of the memories that stuck in my mind was about my father. We was in a car. We had pulled up, I guess, by this military base. Had to been around where 29 Palms is.
Mhm.
They had Quonset huts, and my dad was sitting tall on his horse.
On his horse?
Yeah, on his horse
Like
with
a real horse?
yeah, real horse.
Wow.
Yeah, and he was in the Marine. He was a staff sergeant in the Marine Corps,
Wow.
and and he had his Marine blues on. And he was there, I guess they got a whatever they was doing, had all like families that came, but to see their loved ones in the military or something.
Mhm.
And because my dad was going in and out, because he did 3 tours in Vietnam, and so when he would come home, he would be over there or whatever. And and then um, that was the extent of it. And I remember being on a plane
Oh yeah.
coming home. I remember my mom put this on your head, and I gotta listen to it. It was like some plastic flimsy headphone thing, like the old ancient
Yeah,
thing.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and
The kind that used to slide. You can push the ear
and
buds like that.
I forget what it like. It is. I just remember I had it on my head,
Yeah.
and I was listening to Hawaiian music
Okay,
coming
wait,
home.
but before that, so I want you to tell why you guys moved home.
Okay.
Cause.
So my dad, Papa was a Rolling Stone. uh, my dad, uh, he's from Texas. He's Creole, half black, half French. Um, he was in the Marine Corps, and when he met my mom here, they got married here, and then they went to. My dad got stationed at 29 Palms, and so my mom went up there and was at dependent housing in Barstow, California. And I was born in Riverside, California, and my sister was born in National City. And so my dad had given my mom a gun, a 9 millimeter gun, um, to protect herself when he's not around. And my dad would always go out drinking and whatnot, I guess, because this one night, what my mom told me was he came home and he was fumbling with the knob,
Mm,
trying to get
the
in.
doorknob,
And it
yeah.
wasn't Barstow color. It was like like okay, container homes,
Mm,
for the dependents. Yeah, it was like in one of those, and what they call it, the where the trailer home.
trailer homes.
Yeah, trailer home kind. So my mom was yelling, "Who's that? Who's that?" And he never like say nothing. He wasn't saying nothing. He just my mom said he kept fumbling with the trying to get into the house. And my mom had the gun out. You better say something, or I'm gonna shoot. And when the door opened, my mom puffed shot a round off just above his head. It's so I guess it sobered him up. I guess. But my mom just was like frazzled from that. My mom, she's not a person to take shit from anybody.
Mm.
You know what I mean? And she's like, you know what? Fuck this, and fuck, I'm out of here. And my mom was done with it. Later on, when years later, when I was like 41 years old, I came out of prison. I went to go research for my dad and where he was online. I found his number and called him up. It wasn't a trip. I call him up. He answered, hello. And I go, my name is Demont Connor. He said, who is this? And I said, my name is Demont Raphael Darren Connor. And he just said, like, oh my God, you're my oldest son. I said, yeah, I just came out of prison and I just wanted to talk to you. I like know who you are, what you're all about. I like know what happened.
Mm.
I get plenty of unanswered questions because me, in my head, when I was growing up, I always thought to myself, if I meet my father, I'm going to knock him out, because he hurt my mom, yeah.
Mm.
And that was in my head the whole time. But then we ended up getting, talking story. And he met my first wife, Nancy. We was
Oh
talking
yeah?
story. Yeah, you got to talk to him too, right?
No,
You never get to talk to him.
no. He
Oh, he
was,
died just
yeah, he
before I met you.
died.
I
Yeah.
think it was Mommy then. We got to talk to
Oh,
Mommy. And
wow. So you had some contact with him for a little while, like a
yeah,
few
just
years.
every once in a while I would call him
Mm.
up. And but I would ask him, I asked him, tell me the history, what happened.
Yeah.
And he pretty much incorporated what my mom said, and that he was no good for my mom, and
He
he was
remembers the
always
day she almost shot him.
full. Yeah, he said Your mama killed my ass. You know, I came home. Shit, I was drunk as a skunk, and yeah, that sobered my shit up. You know, fucking, it was fucking crazy. I was like, yeah, good for you, you stupid. Okay, you did it to my mother. You lucky I wasn't over there. I was fucking broke your ass.
So your mom got frazzled by that
Mm-hmm.
incident, but your mom is not, from what I hear, she's not really somebody that would be frazzled, right?
Yeah.
So do you
No, I
remember
think
what?
it bothered her.
Yeah,
I think
yeah,
one, I think it was his womanizing.
yeah,
You know, she always had that. So, and he confirmed he was. You know,
yeah,
he
yeah.
had gone out and oofing up and women, and no, he him too. He was married 3 times.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, he was married 3 times, and
interesting.
Johnny Mayer was his last one.
Johnny May.
Yeah, that's that's funny. Yeah, she was.
Inside joke.
Yeah, and she we talked. And she would tell me, yeah, your dad spoke to me about you and
Yeah,
all that. Yeah. My dad's regret too was that he wasn't there for me and my sister.
yeah.
You know, and just like me, I get the same regret. It's funny. He get 2 kids, I get 2 kids. You know,
Third marriage, third marriage. That's interesting.
yeah.
But so was your mom, do you think your mom, do you remember anything about your mom's personality before that incident with your dad? Like, was she still a hammer? Was she still, you know what I mean? Was
Uh,
she like a violent mom?
no, I mean the violence I sustained under her. I only remember when we came home.
So, okay, so I wonder, because I'm the picker.
Yeah.
I
You see that
wonder.
Kakio? She just did. She just tried to scrape him off my shoulder right now.
But I
The chip
wonder
the
now.
chip on my shoulder, she's trying to scrape him off now.
I wonder now if that incident with your dad
Hmm.
is her initial trauma. You know what I mean?
Wow. I never did I never did think of that.
Right?
Yeah,
Like,
I never did
because
think in
then
terms of that.
she brought you guys home. All of a sudden, she's a single mom.
Yeah.
She just almost shot her husband.
Yeah.
And that's a traumatic thing. You know what I mean? Even if she didn't actually shoot him, I
Right.
would think if I was in her position and you came in the door and I almost shot you, that's a heavy burden
Right.
to take on, that I almost killed my
I
husband, you
mean, it
know?
was severe enough for her enough to say, "Fuck this, I'm out of here."
Yeah.
You know,
So that
and
might have
she
been your mom's
cut bait,
first
walk away.
traumatic incident that led to
Yeah.
who she was here. Okay, so
Yeah.
then you guys came home.
Right. And I mean, I don't remember getting smacked around and all that when we came home. That the whole smacking around and stuff like that. I think it happened after it started to happen after that incident at Camphor Housing.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, because up until then, I don't remember getting beat up and all that strange stuff. My mom. In fact, I remember when we moved into the housing, the the the, the apartments was just power built, yeah.
Mm.
So you still get the smell of fresh concrete
Yeah,
and all
yeah.
that,
Fresh paint.
and dust and stuff like that. And I remember we had to go sweep all the dust and clean up, and my mom was like trying to put down a carpet, yeah, on the ground until she got linoleum, and then she didn't go put linoleum on the ground. But I remember that Christmas, the first Christmas, I had a purple, like a purple suit, like a jacket and a bow tie, and a vest and a white shirt.
That just
But it
reminds
was
me of
it
a.
was purple.
It reminds me of a pimp suit.
Yeah.
But you were a kid.
Yeah. So I had that. I remember that. I never liked the jacket. I was just wearing that. And then my mom every Christmas, I mean every Halloween, she'd always try to dress me up when we had parties, and 'cause my mom ran all the parties in Comfort Housing, for the kids. She would always dress me up as Bojangles. There's footage from the news media that came over there that had me like this. I was like with my hands out with
Oh,
the
yeah?
Bojangle face. Yeah, doing the whole. She just like make me watch the Bojangles. and make me do that.
What
You know, like
media was it? Do you know?
it was one of the news medias, probably Channel 9, I guess. I don't know.
Oh,
But one of the news medias, there's a old footage. It would have to be from, I would think, from about 5 years old. So 69,
69.
between 69 and let's say 7 years old, 72, 73 years old.
I was born in 73.
Somewhere along there had that. Because I remember I was on a TV and there was and had when had the thing came on TV. Hey, look, Timon, it's still on TV.
That would be
I
cool if
was
we could retrieve
Bojangles.
it from the archives.
Yeah, yeah. And so yeah, so it wasn't until after that incident, at Camford Housing, on Beauty
Wow.
17 with my neighbor downstairs, what he
So
did with
that
his wife. That
so that might have been like a nut. So okay, so that's interesting, and that's gonna be our first visit. So I don't want to talk too much about that, but
mm,
um, that incident, I remember you telling me when it happened, your mom scolded you for being there
more than
watching
that,
it, right? Like, yeah.
more than that,
But
'cause
it's interesting because all this
she beat my
time,
ass. Yeah.
yeah, so all this time we were talking about, you got your ass beat and it wasn't even your fault. You were out there and it happened, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I wonder if that was the moment for your mom where she got scared that she's living with you. She's a single mom living with her kids in that environment, right? And it scared her to the point where she probably thought, I gotta toughen these kids up, otherwise they're gonna get, you know what I
Wow.
mean?
Yeah. And wait. Okay. No. So then now you saying it like that. So my mom had that jolt to her senses when she
Right,
almost shot my dad.
right.
Right. When she come so much so that it caused her to like fuck
Pack up
this
and
guy,
come home.
back home, come home, pack up, come home, and then that was a situation where my dad could have died,
Right,
right, by her hand with a gun,
right,
right. And she comes home, and then she sees that I witnessed that,
right.
because I don't know if she was watching it, but I know that I was by the front door, and you could, if she was watching, she probably was down, was by the front window.
Mm.
The front window looked down at
Or she heard
down there.
the
Yeah, she probably heard the
commotion.
commotion or
Yeah.
whatever, or whatever. But I know I was outside. I mean, I opened the screen door. I was watching them, like I was like looking at them, like tripping. I was like, wow, and it was nuts,
So see, I wonder
nuts.
if
Yeah.
that was like a first,
So you know what I mean? Like so,
yeah, is a progression,
her triggers.
right?
You know what I mean? And she see that, that could make her react.
Yeah.
So
So I
maybe,
always thought, like, when you're telling that story, for some reason, I always thought that she was already abusive before that,
yeah.
you know?
No, I don't remember nothing, nothing abusive like
So
that.
you see what
I
I
was
mean?
actually like on Happy Kids, because we go to different families' houses. You know what I
Mm,
mean? And we always have to be well behaved.
right.
You know what I mean?
I mean, and
Children
that's
should be
just
seen, not
discipline.
heard.
That's
Yeah,
just discipline, right? So
yeah,
that's not abusive. But
yeah.
but you see what I mean about there's a story behind every story.
Right.
Like, you know what I mean? That's everybody knew your mom as, having a heavy hand or whatever. Being this strong personality that wouldn't take shit from nobody. But I
Hmm.
bet she wasn't always like that. She was like that because she had to
But
be like that.
there was a duality to her. Yeah, she was a tough, strong
Hmm.
personality, but she also had a lot of love and care for
Right.
people.
For everybody outside the
Yeah,
home, right?
yeah.
So
She was
you
a
would tell me,
volunteer in the housing.
right. So I've heard you tell me multiple times that why me? Why, if she could love everybody outside and
Yeah,
be everybody's
that was
best
one of
friend,
my, yeah.
why is she so hard on me,
Right.
right? So now when we're talking about this, I'm thinking that your mom was probably, that incident probably put her in fight or flight mode because she's a mama bear protecting her kids, right?
Right.
And it's one thing to protect your kids from getting their feelings hurt and stuff. But this was like a really traumatic incident. So
Right.
now she's probably in this fear, right? That something's gonna happen to her kids, and she's gotta teach. And you're the oldest,
Right.
so she's gotta teach you to be tough and defend yourself.
Yeah.
So that you don't get hurt.
Well.
You know,
Yeah.
so it's kind of. I mean, I would think it would kind of help you. I know you've forgiven your mom, but like, you know what I mean? I think it would kind of help in that, knowing that she didn't hate you,
Yeah.
or she didn't,
Yeah.
like we said, you guys didn't come with a manual, but I think it's deeper than that, you know?
Again, kakio pillow. There you go. It's my chip on my shoulder. Everybody tell me, oh, you have chip on your shoulder your whole life. You get chip on your shoulder. And this one so weird. Digging a chip.
And this is your
Trying to,
story, and I'm crying.
you
You
cry
see?
for everything. I
I
say.
know I do. No, but that's a huge, you know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
you were molded out of the actions that came from your mom and your environment, and now you
Mhm.
see maybe how she was molded by the actions and environment she was,
Yeah.
you
I mean,
know.
she also grew up rough and tumble.
Right.
She was the son that my grandpa always wanted, kind of
Right.
thing.
But I think
Right?
motherhood kind of softens that a little bit when it comes to your kids.
Yeah.
And then you're thrown into this really bad environment, and then,
Hmm.
you just get into like overdrive.
Yeah. Well, let's go down this journey, babe. Let's go down
You
this
ready for
journey.
this?
Let's go.
We have to
You
think of
know.
a name before when I upload it. So I'm gonna try and think. And the point of this whole thing is
To
my
give a deeper
husband.
context to
Yes,
all the stuff that.
to everything. So my husband he's never hidden his past. He's always been upfront with his past, and which is why I fell in love with him first, because he was open with me with this long list of things that he did, and he knew dates and times, and I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if he knew what he was wearing, and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I want this journey. I'm not trying to hurt him and have him relive the past, but I feel like unless you understand why you do the things you do and what guided you on that path, there is no true healing. And I also want, he's a great mentor, right? For
Pateles.
we have
Pateles for sale.
we have people that drive by and sell food, but also, he can become a great mentor for the kids that are going through maybe that transitional age now, because we have a lot of domestic violence, gun violence in the West Side, all over. But
They're
there
literally
it
right outside the window. Thank you, Tita.
is. But so I want like, if there's young kids out there, especially young men, because I think men and women have a different, men have to be strong and tough, and women have to be like me, like
Yeah.
sensitive and cry. But, you know, I think men and boys need really good guidance from their fathers, or from father figures, um, when they're doing that transition, right?
Mhm. Right.
And
Okay, so I see your motive. You know what? I would like what ultimately what I would like, because I'm in my later years already, right? And it's all about starting to think about legacy.
mm,
There's two major things that I would like to contribute to the advancement of our people. Talking about Kanaka, right? Because that's, you cannot take care of nobody else's house. You gotta go clean your house first. So, I talking on behalf of Kanaka. One is with the youth. You know, I see a lot of efforts being made to, especially ex-cons, we come and we go talk to the kids and all that and
Mm.
whatnot. Yeah, and it's all right, right? It's all right. Every little bit helps. For me, if I had the opportunity to talk to the youth, I would just like to tell them straight. Just tell them straight, but tell them the truth so they understand from the get go. Somebody came over here and tell you the truth so that you have no excuse going forward, right?
Mm.
Um, I just want somebody to tell me straight because I was in a stay straight program. I remember John
Wow.
Kalani Lincoln taking me to take a bunch of us kids. We was all troubled kids. They take us to OP down in a dungeon. Bobo Louis standing in front of my face, spitting, talking crazy and all
I've
that.
seen that show on TV.
Yeah, the Stay Straight. The
Yeah.
mainland had Scare Straight,
Oh yeah,
but
yeah, yeah.
Hawaii's version was called
Stay
Stay Straight.
Street. I didn't even know Hawaii
Yeah,
had one.
and he used to take us mini bike riding K Lagoon and all that. And I was afraid for all 15 minutes. And then when we left there, I was like, yeah, fuck them guys. I'm never gonna see them again. And boom, like 5 years later, I stay OP. I see the old dogs. You know what I mean? And able to check out the dungeon and all that. Like, wow, that's where I was. The thing that never suit right with me is for somebody like me is like I never give a shit about anybody in authority or anybody trying to exert authority over me. I was I was my biggest problem was I was anti-authoritarian. I would like to just come with love and compassion and straight talk to the kids and let them know like for me I'm nobody to you. I'm nobody to you. I'm nobody for you to look up to. I'm nobody. I'm not your leader. I'm not nothing. I just want another guy that was locked up, like a lot of your Ohana who was
Mhm.
may have been locked up. There's probably a lot of you in here that I was locked up with them. But I just like tell you guys straight, and this is the whole thing. I like just de-glamorize the freaking bullshit narrative about life on the streets and prison, right? Because there's this sort of like mystique um behind convicts that the young boys they like look and oh yeah my uncle he did time in Halava and
Yeah, yeah,
my uncle did 40 years
yeah.
and my cousin did 30 years and
I grew up with a lot of them too,
yeah
where it's like a what do you call it? Like a badge. Like
yeah, like a badge
you
of
get
honor.
three family members that all did time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and so I just like tell everybody straight to the kids that eventually going to hear this message. I'm going to tell you straight, bro. You can choose to believe me or not. It doesn't matter. I just like do my part to be straight and upfront with you guys. There is nothing freaking glamorous about life on the streets and life as on convict. First of all, you gotta even know what the vernacular is, right? There is a difference between jail and prison, and there's a difference between inmates and convicts, right? Um, Jail and prison, jail is where you go 1 year or less. Prison is where you go 5 years or more, right? And then in prison, you get different levels that you're gonna be at. You're gonna be either high security, or high risk inmate, or you're gonna go all the way down to community level, right? So you get community, you get minimum, you get medium, then you get close custody, you get high security. Um, I've been, I started off high security, so at the high security facility, I was S5 max. That was my classification level,
Mhm.
S5 max, and I did time with all the bad dogs. In Halava High Security Facility, there was only 90 bed space without the overcrowding, and then there was 12 in a segregation. So at the most, without overcrowding, there's 102 of us. Okay, so We all know each other. All us guys who was there, we all know each other. And if you wasn't there from 1981 to 1991 in August, please stop saying you was in high security. Because I hear people say that, oh, I was in a high. Yeah, you was in a high. After 1991, you wasn't in a high. After 1991, they changed the classification system. I know because it was because of my case in the Ninth Circuit that got that classification changed, and we did away with the segregation maximum control program.
Okay, wait, I think that's gonna be like another story.
Yeah, but
So,
anyway,
what do you want to tell?
so
Yeah.
what I'm talking about here is that there was nothing glamorous about none of that shit I went through. Nothing glamorous. Nothing that you want to go, ooh, I like be a part of that. No, it's all bullshit. A lot of us were scared. A lot of us acted out on the field. A lot of us just trying to survive that whole experience, and it's not real, bro. It's not real. You have to adapt a persona, a mask to hide your feelings. You know what I mean? Otherwise, you will get eaten up, right? So let me tell you something, bro. When you see all the blood and guts and all that craziness, there's nothing glamorous about that because when you go to sleep, that thing gonna be in your mind. You know, you're gonna get fits and starts. You're gonna wake up, jump up out of every little noise. You're jumping up and fearful something gonna happen. You know, my wife will tell you, but I had night terrors for a long time. It took me a long time to get up over that, just to get to into a trusting relationship where I know that I'm not gonna be attacked at any moment. You know, so there's a trauma there that I wouldn't want to wish it on anybody. So for all you youngsters who think it's freaking badass to be a badass tough guy on the street, it's not. It's not. You're gonna take throat cracks, you know, and you're gonna suffer. And the other thing too is with that is that what you do before you go in that environment, if you get kids, you gonna be responsible. You the one responsible for having your kids grow up without your guidance. You're gonna have some other man being a father figure to your kids. Some other people gonna be taking care of your kuliana. And you're gonna come to an age like me where I regret not being there for my two kids. And my grandkids hardly ever know me because of that. Because I was selfish. I was only thinking about me and my feelings and what I wanted. And that's my biggest regret right there in my whole life. Is not being there to raise my kids. So don't do that. No, don't fall for it, bro. Don't fall for it. Get out now while you can. If there's help out there, somebody wanna hug you, somebody wanna help you to go job corps, go to the military, do whatever. Just get out now while you can. Save yourself. The other thing I would like to um be helpful for is to help Kanaka, all Hawaiians. We have been suffering from generational trauma for over 100 years since the overthrow of our kingdom and since the loss of our queen. We were people who were dedicated and loyal to our mo'i, right? Queen Lili Okalani is to this day our queen, and we remember the message that she sent us and to the whole world until such time. You know what that means? Until such time as America goes back to their Christian principles and we rightfully return our kingdom to us. Until such time. And so I would like the conversation to start where we can do some sort of reconciliation amongst ourselves. I'm not asking for all the politicians and people outside to interfere. My mother would always say, ni ele oko. Ni ele oko is, if it's not your kuliana, no come over here and go bara this thing over here. This is for Kanaka to resolve. This is for us as a people to heal. I would like for us to have forums where we can meet, we can talk about the traumas of the past, but more so, come up with a comprehensive understanding, a group understanding where we can heal from the past. So we can finally lay that all to rest. We all know America is here unlawfully. America came here, no treaty of annexation. You know, we all understand. We all understand that. I believe in that. I know it's true. You know it's true. People who in power know it's true, even though they act like they don't know. We know, but it's not about them. I don't like this be about anybody else, but how we gonna come together to heal from the past, to be able to love each other, to understand that we are Kanaka. And if you see another Kanaka, hug them, say aloha, be kind, be helpful, be caring. You know, show aloha to each other. No more this kind hating on each other, because all that is displaying self hatred, right? Learn the language, learn the culture, teach the keikis, right? Let us work together to heal our nation. And I think when we do that, then we'll be able to move together as a people. Because I'm already seeing it right now. In my own way. I doing them in my own way. I I helped start this pilot program under DHHL, which is all about Kanaka, right? And guess who came to the rescue? My wife did the work. Get on Ace Hardware, Hardware Hawaii, Lowe's, Home Depot, City Mill, all these big companies, bro. They all went like blow us off. But you know who came and helped us with this pilot program? Brian Kahaina, Tyson Services, American Hauling. They came first, right? Before them was actually the Souza brothers from Wailua. Oh, they came with the backhoe, created the first um uh
Or
what do they call that, base camp
yeah.
that we have now, right? They did that. Then Brian Kahaina came, and then now we get Brother Solomon Kahalevai, and he's Hui, thanks to Auntie Blanche. That's her nephew, right? Hawaiians coming together and working with each other, not arguing, not bitching, not moaning, not groaning, not like f these guys, f that guys. No, we're like, what the problem? Okay, let's fix it. Oh, I can do this, I can do that. Oh, I can help you over here. You know what I mean? Oh, you know what? And then my wife, well, we no more money, but my wife loves to feed, and the Hawaiians got they brother, thanks for the grains. You know what I mean? And we're starting the healing process amongst ourselves. And then there's Kanaka, who's out there fighting the battle that I met them and was good, and then went sour, went bad, and now we're coming together and we're learning to work with each other. We both understand, yeah, that sorry I went swayed you that time and this and that. We're starting slowly to be able to come together and work with each other. And why? Because we gotta heal. We gotta heal, bro. And when we heal that open wound has been open since January 17, 1893, when it officially ended our kingdom by an illegal overthrow. But now it's our turn. What are we gonna leave back for our keiki and Opio that's coming up next? I think what we should be able to leave behind is a legacy of aloha, kapu aloha, true kapu aloha for yourself. True kapu aloha for your loved ones, and true kapu aloha for everybody else. And we cannot do that until we heal. So this is my word to everybody. If I said anything and done anything in the past that hurt you, that made you uncomfortable or whatever feelings there was out there, I apologize from the bottom of my heart, and I'm committed to moving our lahui forward, working with all the people. Hey, you're gonna have to work with all kind of people. You know, you get your Kanaka, you get Native Hawaiian small N, you get Native Hawaiian big N, and then you get Hawaiians. And if you don't know the difference, Bumbai are going to tell you about that, right? But everybody has a role to play. All Kanaka has a role to play in moving our people forward. And thanks to this Wahine radio, she haole Japanese. No more Kanaka blood, but her heart is Kanaka. Reminds me of the Maori saying, because in Maori, in Aotearoa, Maoris know there is no more pure Maoris anymore. But what the Maori is saying is, they have a saying that says, if you Maori in your heart, you Maori. My wife is Hawaiian in her heart. She love our people, she love where we stay, and she doing her part to help us move forward. And like I said, Nieli Oko, it's our business. It's us guys that gotta do them. We gotta do them. So I'm committed to doing that. And that's my message to everybody out there. Kanakas, we can, what they call that, Mamua Kanaka. We can move forward together.
Yeah.
Aloha.
So, okay, so just to tie that in, because some people that are not from Hawaii or don't know the history of Hawaii might think that my husband just went off on this, different rant, because this story really is about him. But to tie it into his life, I also think that the history of Hawaii is important because they say that Native Hawaiians are majority of the incarcerated, right? And so
we number one at the worst in Hawaii.
Yeah.
And we last on the list for the best in Hawaii.
Right. So that makes a difference because a lot of it has to do with the suppression of Hawaiians and what that did to families
Disenfranchised.
and the generational trauma, not just with the Hawaiian culture, but what it did to the families trying to survive, right? And that
disenfranchised us.
right, and so that affects the children and your grandkids, and and there's a whole lot of things going on. So the Hawaiian history does have a lot to do with the incarcerated, and so if you don't know, you can go on this journey with him and learn about it too. But that's how it ties in, because I'm hoping that this video reaches everywhere, all over the world. I want his story to be told all over the world because I think it's important for everybody to understand that behind every crime, behind every bad choice, there is a whole story behind that. And if we can be a part of fixing the story or helping the story, the outcome will be different. We can all make our own endings. And so that's why I think it's important to get his story out. Because he's making his own ending now. And I guarantee you it's not like how people thought his ending was going to be. Right? 6 years ago, 6 years, next month will be 6 years.
July.
Yeah.
July 21st, 2025, we make 6 years.
Yeah. So 6 years ago, if people had asked him, what do you think your life's going to be like in 6 years? I don't think this would have been nowhere close to, right?
I was lost. I was the lost soul. Yeah. She
So-
rescued me.
So I hope you guys all take this journey
I
with
love you.
him and with
You're
us.
beautiful.
Hopefully, we are going to do these videos without talking about
Your ass.
this will be the one but hopefully because it's a different type of video, hopefully my ass will
I
stay out
love
of
you.
it.
Yeah.
I love you too. So I'm gonna upload this. This is the first of many series that's gonna come up.
You gotta think
So
of a name when you wanna put
yeah,
this.
I'm gonna think of a name right
Yeah.
after we shut off. So I'm gonna
Mhm.
upload it and just look for
This
those
your
series.
program, girl. You just want them. Yeah.
Yeah, so you can follow his journey on that specific title, and then we'll still do our fun vlogs too, and our silly vlogs, and driving all over the creation and what we do every day. So, all
Right.
right.
Love, peace, and happiness, y'all. We out of here. All right.